All right, what's going on, guys? Farzing Vasugian here with you on a Wednesday night. Welcome in to the Chiefs Zone podcast. Hope you're all having a great week as the Chiefs are heading to the Super Bowl. You already knew that, but it sounds great to hear the Chiefs, AFC champs, 3 years in a row, going to the Super Bowl 3 years in a row and looking to pull off the first ever three-peat in NFL history. Appreciate you guys joining me for this episode of the Chiefs Zone podcast. Hope you're all having a good day. Thank you for tuning in live on Facebook and YouTube, and for everybody else watching later on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, wherever it is you're tuning into the podcast. Appreciate all of you guys as well. Fairly quiet day, fairly quiet week, in fact, going into this bye week, if you will. As the only game going on this weekend is the Pro Bowl. The Chiefs will not be taking part in that. A little bit of breaking news on that. We'll get to the Pro Bowl update in a moment here, as obviously Patrick Mahomes will not be there. But one of the quarterbacks dropped out. Who dropped out? I'll let you guys know in just a moment. Also, are people really going to boycott the Super Bowl? Really? Is that really going to happen? We'll get into that more. And also, the referee conspiracy theorists are out in full force. They are convinced the NFL is rigged, and I'm here to debunk all of that because, let's be honest, facts over feelings. That's how we do things here, baby. We do not think with our hearts. We use our brains here. Yeah, you guys all know that. You guys all do the same thing. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. So we're going to get into that. I've actually got some clips to show you guys, and we'll debunk all the theories that the referees are helping the Chiefs, and it's only for the Chiefs. A lot of clips. Yeah. We're gonna debunk some of these theories here, and no one's going to be able to debunk anything I say. So it'll be a lot of fun. Appreciate you guys joining me tonight. Not going to be a very long podcast. This is one of those podcasts where if you guys have any questions, anything that's on your mind, Jim, I see you, Sarhan, I see you. Whatever's on your mind, please ask it below. This is actually going to be a good time to get those in because this is not going to be a very long podcast. Like I said, we'll probably be able to read more comments in this episode than usual. Before we get into the podcast, I want to let you know this is brought to you by SeatGeek. SeatGeek is where I go for all of my sports ticketing needs, whether it's the NFL, college football, Major League Baseball. Obviously, baseball's coming up real soon. The NFL is about to wrap up, so there's only one game left. But the NBA, NHL, college basketball, they're ongoing. And we've got the NCAA tournament. That's not necessarily around the corner, but it's going to be coming up real soon here. Even if you guys want to catch any of the action in person, go to SeatGeek.com, and new customers can put in my promo code FARZINE and save $20 off their first order. Go to SeatGeek.com, pick your tickets, and at checkout, new customers put in my promo code FARZINE and save $20 off your first purchase from SeatGeek. Thank you, MB. Yeah, MB favorite cook. Entirely possible. I just responded to a burner account. Yeah, I mean, allegedly, I'm a journalist. What is more fake? Me being a journalist or the referees helping the Chiefs? Which like on the conspiracy theory scale, which one weighs more? I would have to say the journalism, because I'm not a journalist. I don't know why people think that. I mean, listen, I appreciate that, but I'm literally not a journalist. Literally not. By the way, not to get into it too much tonight, but I love how Eagles fans are already talking about the game and how, the field better not be wet this time. You know what's funny to me is how the Chiefs played on this. Well, first of all, let's back it up for a second. The field that was used at State Farm Stadium, which is where the Arizona Cardinals play, that's where Super Bowl 57 was held between the Chiefs and the Eagles 2 years ago. The field they used is the exact same type of field the Philadelphia Eagles use at their stadium. I think it's Lincoln Financial. Apologies, I don't remember the names of all the stadiums and arenas in the U.S. for all the sports teams, but I believe it's Lincoln Financial. It was the same field they had used all year, and then for whatever reason, the Eagles had an issue because the field was slippery, and that the edge rushers, the pass rushers, they were not able to get a good bull rush. Do people even know what does that mean? So the field was slippery and they couldn't get a good bull rush on Patrick Mahomes. What does that mean? Because nobody said jack shit about the field when the Eagles were up 24-14 at halftime. Nobody said a damn thing about the field back then. Yeah, funny how all of that works. Yeah, that's the Eagles are already coming in with the not the players, but the fans. There were a couple players. CJ Gardner-Johnson was bitching about the field right before training camp. Not this past training camp, but the training camp before. It's like, dude, you're about to start a new season and you're still crying about the field. It's interesting to me. I mean, anything done to make excuses about why someone lost. It's like, come on, really? It's always fun to just see the excuses here. I never thought, and somebody called in on Sunday and said this. I never thought in a million years that the Chiefs would be in the middle of a conspiracy theory tied into the Super Bowl and Taylor Swift, the most popular star in the world right now, and they'd be in the middle of a conspiracy theory tied into who they want to endorse for the presidential election, which was the case last year. That is how crazy people are going with their conspiracy theories on the Chiefs right now. I love it, though. It's at an all-time high. It is at an all-time high. You guys want to see some facts? You guys want to see something really cool that nobody's talking about? Yeah, let's do it. I'm excited for this episode. Okay. Let's see. How do I do this here? Oh, look at that. Okay. This was the Matt Collins touchdown play. Now, I'm not going to show the actual touchdown pass or anything because that's not the point here. McDuffie did commit, they did flag him for a pass interference penalty, but you got to back it up a bit because everyone watch that left tackle right there, okay? Watch the left tackle. Playing it now. Oh, move before the snap. Y'all slow it down here. Look at him. He's moving. The ball is on the ground, not even moving. The center's right hand arm not moving, but the left tackle, he's moving. And this was a touchdown play. Here's another angle. Look at that. There's the left tackle there. I believe that's Deion Dawkins. He's moving. The center's not. So that's a false right there that the Bills got away with. So no one's talking about that. That's funny. This was the next play. The PAT. Justin Reed was called for offside. Look at Justin Reed and the long snapper. They are moving at the exact same time. The exact same time. Now, unlike a lot of other people, the Chiefs don't bitch and moan about this kind of thing. They decided to stuff Josh Allen at the 1 yard line. Here's another angle of it. Justin Reed and the snapper both moving at the exact same time. This was just a perfectly timed snap by Justin Reed. Nothing bad about it. This is not a touch-up, but look at the left guard for the Bills. He's moving. Clearly moving while the center isn't even moving his hand. This one was not a touchdown, but they scored a touchdown 2 plays later on the 4th down play there. So, yeah, what's going on here? How come nobody's talking about these plays? I mean, I get it. People only talk about the bad and the missed calls if it's in favor of the team that won the game. No one ever talks about calls that went against the losing team. Or in favor of the losing team, excuse me. Nobody ever wants to talk about that, which is okay. I get it. Those are kind of lost causes. Which, by the way, the pass to McDuffie. I'm sorry, the pass to Xavier Worthy. Okay, I mean, I get the responses from that, but the ball's clearly not moving. He's got possession of it, and the ball doesn't move or change. It doesn't come out of the hand in any way. The ground doesn't control the possession. So that's why that was considered a catch. Now, as far as that play itself, there was a penalty on the Bills anyway, so that would have been a first down. So keep itching and moaning about that one. What was the other one? Oh, yeah, the Josh Allen 4th down one right there. Listen, here's what shocks me. Before I get into this 4th and inches one where the Bills turned it over on down, what surprises me is a lot of people conveniently forget the rules when their preferred team does not win. If you guys go back and watch that, Josh Allen's head is clearly in front of the or on the line. And by the way, and I don't have the clip or the screenshot of it here, but the actual live play where you can actually see the score and all the graphics on the bottom, do not give me that bullshit. That is a horrible angle for a first down. Show me the angle that shows you right down the middle where you can see the referee, you can see the line of, not the line of scrimmage pylon, but the first down pylon, and also where the chain gain is. Show me that angle. And on that angle right there, you do not see any definitive proof that Josh Allen with the football passes the first down marker. His head is clearly on the first down line, but not the ball. There's no definitive proof. And listen, if the referees called it a first down, which they didn't, but if they called it a first down and reviewed it, there's no way to say he was behind the first down marker. So that play would have stood anyway. That's interesting to me. You know, again, people kind of forget that thing. There's another thing, by the way, inside 2 minutes, I think before halftime. So I guess there was a half-second difference between the game clock and the play clock. Some people call it the snap clock. This has, by the way, been discussed many times before, but for whatever reason, nobody knew this during the Chiefs and Bills AFC Championship game. If there is a half-second difference where the play clock gets to 0 seconds before the game clock, if it's less than a second, you can let the clock run out and go into the 2-minute warning. A lot of people do not know this. And this is, by the way, evident because if you watch football games, you see a lot of times players just get the snap off at the 0 second mark. When the clock hits 0 second, the referees, and this is not anything new, I'm not breaking any news here, but I guess I'm educating some people because conveniently and magically people did not know this before. The referees will give you a half-second grace period for you to snap the ball, even if the play clock goes to 0-0. Again, people don't remember these things, but people forget about that. Sirhan says Gene Steratore said exactly the same thing about the 2-minute warning during the telecast, but no one wants to listen. Nobody wants to listen to that. It's kind of like the 5th down play. Remember that one against the Bengals? They clearly explained what happened, but Bengals fans don't ever want to talk about it because, I mean, Saron's a Bengals fan, but he's not a dumb Bengals fan like a lot of Bengals fans out there. He's one of the very few ones with a brain. By the way, here's another conspiracy theory that's being thrown out there that I'm about to debunk. And again, no one's going to be able to debunk what I'm about to say, but I'm going to show you here. So remember the 4th and 5 play by the Bills where John was immediately pressured once he rolled out a little bit to his right and he had to get rid of the ball. It was actually a great throw, a great throw attempt to who was it? Dalton Kincaid, who was not able to come up with the reception there. But on that play, you heard Jim Nantz, and CBS put the little graphic on the corner there. They put the yellow flag, and as soon as the yellow flag appeared on the screen, Jim Nantz goes, "Oh, there's a flag." Antonio Romo, right next to him, says, "I don't see a flag." And you don't hear it from the referees because if they were going to pick up a flag, they would say, "Oh, there's no pass interference or there's no penalty for holding." They would not have said any of that. Or whatever, decline, whatever the case is. Because the theory is, the conspiracy theory is that, oh, they threw a flag in case Kincaid caught it. That's not quite true. That's not how that works. So I have the clip of it here because that's what we do. We have visual evidence of these things. Look at this. This is the fourth down play here. Now I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. Okay. Yeah, we don't want to go too far. Okay, there you get the idea. Okay, right here is where they snap it. And by the way, this is a terrible play design. Kincaid did get wide open, which is something the Chiefs need to work on and not allow a first down on these kinds of things because the Bills would have been in field goal range with 2 timeouts in their pocket. But anyway, there's Josh Allen. Snaps it, pressure, throws the ball. He's on the ground. Now look, Josh Allen is right there all the way to your right at the 27-ish yard line. Okay, the ball, and I don't know exactly where the ball is, but it's kind of where the 43-yard line on Kansas City side, that's kind of where it is. And you see Dalton Kincaid on Kansas City's 33, 34-yard line area, okay? Where's the flag? This alleged flag that was thrown by the where is it? Because I don't see it. Because a lot of people are saying, oh, a mystery flag was picked up in case Kincaid caught, and there was no mystery flag. I don't see a flag out there. There is literally no flag on the field anywhere. People just like to hear themselves talk. They just want to bitch and moan because the team that they were rooting so hard against won. There was no flag there. No flag. I don't get it, man. Listen, if you don't like the Chiefs, you have Chiefs fatigue. I get that. That's fine. I'm sure there were a lot of people who were tired of seeing the Patriots, me included, everybody outside of Foxborough. So, again, people only want to hear the things they want to hear. They don't want to hear the facts. And what's that saying again? People prefer their feelings over facts. Well, I say facts over feelings. If you don't like it, too bad, man. I don't decide how facts are determined. I just give you the facts. I tell you what the facts are. Speaking of feelings, so I guess people are boycotting the Super Bowl now because they're convinced that the Super Bowl is rigged. This is from betonline.ag. They compiled, and I don't know how they do this exactly, but they've done this many times. They compiled a list here. They went through all the different fan bases in the NFL to see who is claiming to threaten to boycott the Super Bowl. That's funny. Bills fans are leading the charge here, folks. Buffalo Bills fans who couldn't even tell you what a Super Bowl win is. They are threatening to boycott the Super Bowl, followed by the Ravens and then the Lions. Obviously, a couple of bitter teams that didn't go as far as they thought they were going to go. And then you have the Browns in fourth place. That's funny. I think the Browns have been boycotting the Super Bowl since their entire existence. The Vikings, their fan base is pretty high on boycotting. That one's kind of odd to me. I mean, the Browns one, yeah, I get. The Vikings one is a little weird. You would think the Bengals would be much higher on this one. They're the ones who have the most disdain for the Chiefs and good old Chiefs Kingdom, but no, they're a little bit lower on the list. Even Dolphins fans have voiced their displeasure of the Super Bowl and have been threatening to boycott more than Bengals fans. The Cowboys have been boycotting the Super Bowl since the 90s. And then on the bottom, no surprise, the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs bar it's little, but it's still somewhat there. So I guess according to betonline.ag, I guess there are a few Chiefs fans who are threatening to boycott the Super Bowl. Folks, I'm telling you something right now, and I'm going to call it out if this is not the case. I want to see the lowest rated Super Bowl of all time because we got a lot of people threatening to boycott. What's the lowest rated Super Bowl? Super Bowl 1 involving the Chiefs. Oh, there it is. It involves the Chiefs. It's the lowest rated Super Bowl. Calm down, people. So yeah, what was it at? 24.43 or 26.75? I mean, I suppose they were on different it was a simulcast game. I get that, but that's out there and people are threatening to boycott. So that's what's going on. That's funny. Brian's commenting here. What a genius comment here. Brian says the Kansas City Cheats. You don't like Kansas City's new name? Too bad. You first of all, you use the wrong two. So we can already tell this is not a comment that was put forth with the greatest effort here. But Brian, I got a question for you. Why are you not betting on the games? I mean, I'll ask you because I ask a lot of people this question. I don't get an answer. If I knew that a team was cheating and that the game was rigged, full force in favor for one team, I would be betting every single penny, nickel, diamond, quarter I have on that team. Would you not? Okay, you don't want to bet on games, then why do you watch them? There's no way of knowing that they're rigged if you don't watch the games. So how do you know that the games are rigged if you're not watching them? Because you're watching them, but then you say you're not. Then you say it's rigged and all. Why do you give the product rating? If I knew, here's the thing, and I'm going to continue saying this. I don't care how many times if I sound like a broken record, whatever. I'll keep calling it out until somebody can prove me wrong on this. I seriously could not imagine watching sports this way. You really want to sit through a 3-hour game, or if there are multiple playoff games, then you're going to be spending 6-7 hours watching football nonstop. You're really going to put yourself through all that football action and then convince yourself it's rigged? That has to be a really exhausting way to be a sports fan. I couldn't tell you and by the way, it's not like WWE where everyone agrees to the outcome beforehand. They know what's going to happen. That's not what this is here. Unless you're really sure and you have proof that the Bills, the players, the coaches, the owner of the team, they all agreed to lose the game. Maybe the script was that Josh Allen would intentionally throw that to Dalton Kincaid, and Dalton Kincaid would intentionally, drop it. He's a Lions fan. Okay, see, I don't have the ability to click on profiles. Even when people do comment, I don't have the time to go through anyone's profile anyway. I know a lot of you guys do. Here's what's funny. The Lions were actually getting criticized for having games rigged in their favor. So, I mean, if that person is really a Lions fan, that's kind of funny coming from them. But again, what do I know? I'm over here spitting all the facts and asking all the real questions, yet nobody has an answer to be able to prove me wrong on this one. I know Nick Wright's really fired up about this whole deal with the refs and the narratives. I know Adam Schefter has said some things irresponsible, some other journalists as well. Here's the thing. I always criticize Roger Goodell because he requires coaches and players to be available at least once a week to speak to the media. But yet Roger Goodell, he only does a press conference just a few times a year. He's going to do one next week for the Super Bowl. He usually does one around November or December. It's usually early December to talk to the media. And then he does one in the owners' meetings, the draft, and then maybe one or two more. He doesn't do more than 10 press conferences a year. He does it. And then he does a few, exclusive interviews here and there. But again, it's not very many. So why is it that, and look, the NFL loves this. I'll give you an example. The Thursday night game between the Bengals and the Ravens. On the 2-point try, when the Bengals were trying to win against the Ravens with just a few seconds left, Joe Burrow's face mask got dragged. There are two other Ravens defenders interfering with Chase and holding on to another guy, yet not a single flag was thrown. And it was a huge deal the next morning on Friday, which, Friday for a lot of talk and TV sports shows, the goal is to recap Thursday Night Football quickly and then switch gears and preview and give your picks for all of the games for the weekend, except for Monday Night Football, because they have time on Monday to do all of that. So my question is, these people in the media, because a lot of people in the media are driving this referee narrative here. I better see some people in the media ask Roger Goodell about the referees next week. I need to hear all the tough questions, because if you don't, you're a gutless journalist, and all of your complaints and comments about all these things don't really matter. These are all the same people, by the way. Remember when the additional facts came out about how his girlfriend or fiance at the time was trying to put out a false narrative, and the local station KCTV5, and listen, they've had me on the show a couple of times, which I appreciate, but I'll still keep it 100 and tell it as it is. The news director and the reporter put out the audio clip, and they made it very one-sided. But when the full audio came out, the media, the national media, did not want to emphasize the additional facts that came out in that Tyreek Hill investigation there. So what's going on? And by the way, I apologize, I don't remember the other guy's name, but the guy who, said there were the cheats when I asked him why he's not betting on the games, he never answered me. I mean, he's probably still watching, but doesn't have maybe he's still thinking of an answer. I mean, I would too if I was him, because I would not know how to respond to a tough question like that. But anyway, I better see some people in the media ask Roger Goodell all those difficult questions. Because if you're going to sit here and push a narrative out there, and again, we got a lot of people in the national media are going to be at that press conference. I better hear a lot of tough questions, and I'll be paying very close attention to that press conference. Again, my point with the Tyreek Hill one, the same people in the media, they were like, oh, the NFL let Tyreek Hill get away with abusing his child. No, not quite. There were a lot of additional facts that came out there, but these same people did not ask Roger Goodell anything about why Tyreek Hill was not suspended at the time. So again, the media, and I think, this is kind of dangerous. I know this has been brought to light more on the political side about how the media does not do a good job. And I want to be very clear, I'm not for either side. And I think, both sides of the political aisle in the media, because let's be honest, they all have a narrative and an agenda they want to push. They all will, kind of bend the truth of a story to their version of it. So that way they can get their ideas and opinions and narratives out there. Everyone does it. But the same thing would apply to anywhere else. I still remember when Conor McGregor fought Floyd Mayweather years ago. There was a headline that said Floyd Mayweather won and he bloodied up McGregor. There was not one blood shed in that fight. Not one. But for whatever reason, there were people in the media say, "Oh, Floyd won and he made McGregor bleed." No, not at all. And again, this is just, everybody has an agenda out there, whether it's sports, politics, sometimes with news in your local area. Sometimes you kind of see that as well. I know a lot of times with these local TV and radio stations, they don't always give you the full story on certain things. They omit a lot of things, which, listen, I get TV. There's a time constraint, and explain it. You can't spend 5 minutes in telling a whole story. You just can't. I get that. But they leave out a lot of important facts sometimes. And that's one big reason why I never really wanted to get into TV. One of many reasons, in fact. That's why I like a medium like radio, in this case, podcasting. I know the way a lot of podcasts are, it comes off like talk radio. You're able to expand more and be more explanatory and elaborate on these kinds of things, whereas you can't do that much on TV. But again, it's like the whole situation with the media is they all have an agenda. So the same people that have an agenda are not going to be asking the tough question to Roger Goodell next week. They're just not. All right, we spent a good enough amount of time on that. Let's switch gears here. As we kind of start to move away from the AFC Championship game, something that I do want to mention here. From the AFC Championship game, what did you see in that game that we had not seen many times? We saw a design run there that really helped Kansas City in this one. And why am I saying we haven't seen that yet? Because Greg Rousseau, the defensive end for the Buffalo Bills, he spoke out after the game and said that the Chiefs did things that we were not able to pick up on, or nothing we were able to study from game film as the week went on. Now, let me just explain how this works. A lot of times what happens is teams have practice, and after practice, they immediately go to film study. They have the film from their own practice. They go through that, and they also go through film. And sometimes they'll do this part before practice, but they'll go through film study of the opposing team that they're about to play. And I don't think a lot of people realize this. Coaches spend a lot of hours in the training facility. I remember Kevin Harlan was doing a game on Westwood One once on Monday Night Football, and he was kind of just shouting out the assistant coaches. He says, "Hey, we know a lot of assistant coaches and head coaches. They listen to us on their way home on Monday Night Football. So we wanted to give a shout out to them because coaches work a lot of long hours. Again, people don't realize that. Here's my point with that. Coaches spend a lot of time looking through game film. A lot of time. And so the Chiefs, obviously, they do it better than anyone else. Now, the Buffalo Bills, they studied game film on the Chiefs just like, any other team studies for their upcoming opponents. Greg Rousseau said straight up that the Chiefs did things offensively that they had not seen on tape from this season. This goes back to Andy Reid and how he saved some plays for bigger moments, like the playoffs in the AFC Championship game, the Super Bowl. There is levels to this. Andy Reid is not playing checkers with anybody. He is playing straight up three-dimensional chess with the rest of the NFL. When everyone else is thinking one step ahead, Andy Reid is thinking 10 steps ahead. Listen, I've been critical of Andy Reid, and a lot of people have over the years. Andy Reid, head coach for a very long time. It took him a very, very long time to get that first Super Bowl win. But regardless, he's always won. He's always won a lot of games. Maybe never won the big one in Philly for a long time there, but he's always won a lot of games and has come close many times. And listen, you should have had that opportunity in Philly. He had a lot of great teams in Philly. I think they went to the NFC title game 3-4 years in a row. But it just never came to fruition in Philly. In Kansas City, had a better team, of course. And obviously some changes were made on defense, and they're a much better football team now. And I know people want to make a big deal about the stats are not there this year for Mahomes, for Kelsey, for all these guys. Well, then why did Kelsey just have the best game of his season in the divisional round of the playoffs? Kelsey's best game was 100 yards against the Bucks. He got 117 against the Texans. And yes, the Texans did let him get open a lot, but why did they leave him open so much? Well, part of it had to do with the fact that the Chiefs found a way to utilize their speedsters like Juju, like Hollywood, like DeAndre Hopkins. Hopkins isn't a speedster, but he's a great wide receiver. They were able to use those guys to spread out the defense and allow Travis Kelce to get open. So when you look at the Chiefs, and obviously Kelce had a massive game last week, what about this past week? Kelce had a quiet game. Hopkins only had one catch, but you know who got involved? Hollywood got involved. He had some big catches early on that first drive for the Chiefs. Juju had 2 massive receptions in this game. Oh, and by the way, who was their best offensive player in this one? Xavier Worthy. 100 total, more than 100 total yards receiving and rushing. Oh, by the way, thanks, Buffalo. That's the player you handed over to Kansas City after handing Patrick Mahomes to Kansas City. The Chiefs know what they're doing, man. The Chiefs are out there thinking several steps ahead. I know publicly they say, oh, yeah, 1 week at a time, one game. And I get that. Like in terms of game prep, yeah, you do go about it one game at a time. But you don't just reveal all your cards. Hey, listen, I've said many times, playbooks, NFL coaches, they have very thick playbooks. especially a guy like Andy Reid who's been doing this a very long time. But the big plays, he saves them for the big moments here. And, I have mixed feelings about that because I feel like something like that has prevented the Chiefs from being able to put away some teams like the Colts in Andy Reid's first year in the playoffs. Similar thing against the Titans at home when the Chiefs blew an 18-point lead. Another similar story in the first AFC Championship meeting between the Chiefs and the Bengals. But in general, man, it's like the Chiefs, they know what they're doing. Andy Reid, he's made some crucial errors before. But I think even after all those years, he has found a way to really nullify a lot of his doubters. I know a lot of people doubted the Chiefs this year because they were involved in so many close games, but they're in the Super Bowl, right? So it doesn't matter if you win by 1 or 100. The number one team in the NFL in terms of point differential, the Detroit Lions. The higher your point differential is, that's a strong indication that you've blown out a lot of teams this year. But the Detroit Lions didn't win a single playoff game this year. Number 3 on that list, the Buffalo Bills, they fell to Kansas City, a team they beat in the regular season. And I'm not saying the Chiefs intentionally lost to the Bills earlier on this year, but what I am saying is I'm sure Andy Reid went into that game saying, we're not going to put our best effort out there in terms of play calling and certain decision-making here because you're going to see that team again. You just know it. And I'm sure a very similar situation with the Ravens in week 1. Now, you didn't end up rematching the Ravens, but it was either going to be the Ravens or the Bills. And it ended up being the Bills. There's levels to this. And Andy Reid is proficient at every one of them. Teresa's asking, Farzine, was the final 4th down play spec sent one he had shown during the game, but only sent it in the final play? Listen, they were going after Josh Allen. It wasn't for a lack of effort there. Here's the thing about that play. And in fact, we have it loaded up here. Let's go back here. Watch Josh Allen, okay? The ball is already snapped. Now, can I zoom in here? It's zooming in on my end. I don't know if it's zooming in on your guys' end. Yeah, let's just go with that. Okay. Look at the offensive line, okay? I'm going to pause it here because I can't slow-mo it. This is the best I can do. Look at that. Josh Allen is rolling to his right. Now, little did he know his right tackle was going to get whooped by George Karlaftis. And there's already a little convoy right there in the middle there, right exactly at the 40-yard line on the right hash. So Josh Allen is going to his right, and as soon as he does that, he goes, oh, shit, Karlaftis beat my right tackle, and there are 2 other Chiefs defenders right there. I'm screwed. So what does he do? Yeah, see him backing up right there. He's backing up. Now, he threw a really nice, look to your left. That's Dalton Kincaid right there. And by the way, let me even remove this for 2 seconds there. There's no referee throwing a flag there, even though Jim Nantz said there was. Jim Nantz just kind of fell for what his production crew told him on the truck there. But anyway, Allen's backing up in that one there. And he just had nowhere to go. He had to chuck this one up. Was a great effort. Kincaid is wide open. Should have caught it, but he didn't. And we all know the Chiefs. They know a lot about receivers being wide open and not catching passes because they went through that a lot last year. Yeah. So that's hopefully that answers your question there. Yeah. And let's go to that next point there about Saquon Barkley, because in my opinion, Saquon Barkley, he's the MVP this year. It's going to go to Lamar Jackson, and that's evident because Lamar Jackson made first team All-Pro, and let's be honest, MVP is a quarterback award, so it's going to go to Lamar Jackson. Saquon's probably going to win Offensive Player of the Year. If not him, it's probably going to be Josh Allen. We'll find out in I guess a week or maybe a day or two, give or take. But anyway, here's my thing. Going into last week's game, and here's something I was completely wrong about. Going into last week's game against the Bills, I said that if there's a 3rd and short or a 4th and short situation, it is pretty much a done deal. The Bills are getting a first down out of that with their QB sneaks there. Wrong. Absolutely wrong. I completely swung and missed on that one there. The Chiefs defense, and again, film study, that's what was done to stop Josh Allen. I don't think people realize this. Like, yes, it's important the execution is there, but the games for the Chiefs are won and lost with film study. That is why the Chiefs are winning. The Broncos offensive lineman who kept getting knocked down in that game, he was getting knocked down all year. That's why the Chiefs blocked that field goal, because they knew that they were able to get 3 guys through because they knew he was getting knocked down all year. But again, people just want to say it's luck and rigged and whatever. But to go back to the Saquon Barkley comment here, or what I was trying to go with here on the Josh Allen plays, Josh Allen had a really difficult time. He failed on the 2-point conversion. He went to his left because the right guard, Osiris Torrance, is not very good. So he goes behind his left guard to try to get the first down, or in that case, the 2-point conversion there at the time. And the Chiefs were all over it. Josh Allen had a really difficult time with the quarterback sneaks in this game because Steve Spagnuolo studied every angle, studied every single QB sneak Josh Allen had attempted this year, and they found a way to shut it down, including on a 4th down stop there. That's the Chiefs for you. Now, if the Chiefs can find a way to nullify Buffalo's biggest weapon, which was those QB sneaks, I'm confident they can find a way to do something similar with Saquon Barkley and not let him go off for a big game. The Chiefs' run defense has been phenomenal this year. They've only allowed one 100-yard rusher, and it was not a running back. It was not Alvin Kamara, wasn't Derrick Henry, wasn't any of those guys. It was not Joe Mixon, wasn't James Cook. The only 100-yard rusher this year was Lamar Jackson, the very first game of the NFL season. And since then, the Chiefs have not allowed a 100-yard rusher. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Steve Spagnuolo is preparing his defense for Saquon Barkley. And if you're the Eagles, you better be coming up with a unique game plan that is something that the Eagles have not come up with. Because otherwise, this is going to be one of those games where the Chiefs, they'll find a way to stop the Eagles. Listen, I'm excited to see what the Chiefs are going to do. Oh, for whatever reason, our lads is not working. Okay, interesting. But anyway, my whole point was with Kellen Moore, who I know his name has been, and I've always liked Kellen Moore. I've always felt like he's been a really good offensive coordinator for several years. He's going to have to come up with a unique game plan, something that Steve Spagnuolo has not seen before, because that's exactly what Andy Reid and Matt Nagy did in preparation for the Buffalo Bills game. So we'll see what the Chiefs do on that front there. I think if that Patrick Mahomes fumble doesn't happen, the Chiefs win this game by double digits. I agree to an extent, Anthony. They were still up by 11 before halftime. Now the Bills cut the deficit, and part of it was because of this right here, which again, I know people don't like the facts, but look at the left tackle. He committed a false start there, but the referees didn't call it. Supposedly the referees are only in favor of the Chiefs. But I still think you should have held on to that big of a lead. I thought there was a chance Kansas City could have put Buffalo away a little early. Ended up being a close game anyway, which, let's be honest, that makes it more exciting. But the Chiefs found a way to win that game, which is all that really matters. The receiver they chose over Worthy didn't have a great season. Listen, he had a good yard per catch average, but Keon Coleman, yeah, Kyle, it is Keon Coleman. In the playoffs, Keon Coleman only had 1 catch in every playoff game this year. Xavier Worthy was a very important part of Kansas City's offense. He was the only wide receiver who caught a pass against the Texans, and he was Kansas City's best offensive player outside of Patrick Mahomes in the AFC Championship game. And the whole thing with Xavier Worthy, and I know Travis Kelce brought this up on his podcast this morning. Not this morning, but they taped it. You get the idea. It was released this morning. The idea that Xavier Worthy is just a vertical threat. I mean, he is, but that's not the only thing he is. This guy's capable of doing a lot of things for a Chiefs offense, especially one under Andy Reid's scheme. Which is only going to make him dangerous. And by the way, we saw before his injury, we saw the growth from Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice was a rookie last year. He looked like he was a 10-year veteran in the 3 games he played this year. And I'm not counting the 4th game because he got injured on like the 5th snap of the game, offensive snap for the Chiefs, that is. Rashee Rice had that off-season growth. And he's going to have that suspension, which is going to give him a little bit more time to recover from that knee injury there. I'm excited to see what Rashee Rice is going to look like when he comes back. Because if he can find a way to keep Hollywood Brown and DeAndre Hopkins, easier said than done. Oh, boy, that offense is going to be a lot of fun to watch next year. It really is. Especially with Rice coming back mid-season to give the Chiefs a nice little boost there. That is going to make things very interesting. And by the way, I'm just telling you now, I mean, Xavier Worthy, I expect him to have a big game against the Eagles in the Super Bowl. But get ready for that second season jump for Worthy. That sophomore jump for him is going to be a big one, similar to how it was for Rice prior to Rice's injury. And hopefully the Chiefs have learned their lesson on the whole friendly fire thing. I've gone over that, so I'm not going to go into that in great detail. By the way, Travis Kelce, he needs 3 receptions in the Super Bowl to surpass Jerry Rice for most receptions all time in career Super Bowls. Jerry Rice has 33. Travis Kelce has 31. How crazy is that, man? I mean, we've been waiting for a long time to see the Chiefs dominate and be as great as they are. And not only are they winning so much, I mean, we're seeing some of these big numbers here. Patrick Mahomes has the 2nd most wins all alone, not tied anymore with Joe Montana in the postseason. And by the way, Arrowhead News and Rumors Report on YouTube. I know I'm about a few minutes behind. Your name's Bryce. I apologize. I just saw that. Yeah, I see your comment. You want me on your podcast? Yeah. My DMs are closed publicly, because half of it is spam and the other half of it is non-Chiefs fans bitching and moaning. And they just want to say, like, you know, like F you to me rather than say it publicly, which is always not cowardly at all. That's why you're not able to DM me. But yeah, Bryce, do me a favor. Add me on my personal Facebook account. I'll accept your request, because that way we can discuss a date and a time. So yeah, just want to get that, because I just saw your comment there. Where was I? I don't even know what I was talking about. Oh yeah, the success the Chiefs are having here. Mahomes, he's no longer tied with Joe Montana. He has the 2nd most wins by a quarterback. He is the first quarterback to go head-to-head 4-0 against another quarterback in the playoffs. We've never seen that before in NFL history. Obviously, I'm referring to Josh Allen. I mean, so many things. 5 Super Bowl appearances in 6 years. That's never happened before. I mean, the Chiefs are doing things that have not happened before. During this 3-peat attempt run, which they're 1 win away from pulling off, Patrick Mahomes won the regular season MVP the same year he won the Super Bowl MVP. And I remember a lot of Chiefs fans saying, I don't want Patrick Mahomes to win the MVP, because that means the regular season MVP does not win the Super Bowl because it hasn't happened in 20 some odd years, which I'm sorry, I don't believe in that stuff. I really, really don't. A lot of that is really just coincidental shit. But what do the Chiefs do? They snap that drought of a regular season MVP not being able to win the Super Bowl. There you go. The Chiefs are just doing a lot of things that have not been done before. By the way, I love how the troll is getting responses from the spam accounts. Usually I block those spam accounts. Now that one's deserved. Yeah, have fun trolling. Talon says we played just simple plays versus Denver with our second string. Exactly. People don't realize this. I saw a comment. Someone responded to me when I said the exact same thing as you, Talon. I said that that the Chiefs, they didn't even give a damn in that game. I know they were not happy about the outcome. There were backups there that wanted to prove themselves, like Carson Wentz, who is going to be a free agent this year. Had a chance because the free agent field for quarterbacks and the draft class is not very good. And that was Carson Wentz's chance to do something, but he wasn't able to. The Chiefs had Ethan Driscoll, who I don't even think Ethan Driscoll's played a snap in a regular season game all year long. They had him line up as a tight end, and he ran a route right into the secondary there. Do you think the Chiefs would ever run that exact same play in any realistic, serious scenario? Hell no. Hell no. Shakir was the right open man, but the blitz didn't allow Allen to see him. No, Chris, you're wrong. The blitz didn't do anything. It was the referees who didn't let Allen see him because the referees, God forbid. I'm obviously being facetious. I've never understood the tush push. I mean, putting Jalen Hurts at injury risk doesn't make sense. Don't they pay Saquon to get it in the end zone? And that's actually a good question, Steven, excuse me. I'm not one of those tush push detractors. I think it should be banned. I don't like. You want to ban something because no one's able to stop it except for Kansas City. I don't agree with that. I just don't. Now, as far as your comment about possibly getting the quarterback injured, I mean, I agree with that, but I would even say the center, man. And I know this was asked about of Jason Kelce a few times. Dude, Jason Kelce, poor Jason Kelce was on the damn bottom of all of those piles. I mean, I would not have wanted to do that. But he did it anyway, because that's the type of guy he is. Jason Kelce's the man. We all know that. We need to see the Bills versus the Lions and the shoulda, woulda, coulda bowl. And, hey, they might that might be next year because they released the logo for next year for the San Francisco Super Bowl 60. It's blue. Lions, Bills, let's go, baby. Someone can win their first Super Bowl then. And by the way, let me get this out of the way. Will Josh Allen ever beat Patrick Mahomes in a playoff game? Of course he will. Listen, as much as I would love for this to be the case, the Chiefs are not going to win forever. I mean, listen, Michael Jordan and the Bulls did not win every single championship. Kobe Bryant, as great as he was, he didn't win every single championship. Tom Brady, you know, he won a lot of Super Bowls and he also lost a lot of Super Bowls. I say a lot, but his record is 7-3. 3 Super Bowl losses. That sounds like a lot. Now, compared to Brady, where he went 10 times, doesn't sound as bad. But my point is, Brady lost multiple Super Bowls. That's just the way it all works out. In theory, you could say, you know, Joe Burrow's only lost 1. He's lost fewer Super Bowls than Brady. Well, yeah, because Brady's been to so many. It's kind of like the Kansas Jayhawks in basketball. I mean, they're great, and they get to the tournament every single year. But the more you go, chances are you'll have a few years where you have a surprising early exit, which KU's had. KU's also had multiple championships under Bill Self, too, which is not easy to do. But anyway, neither here nor there. The whole Josh Allen thing, he'll beat Patrick Mahomes. And Patrick Mahomes, you know, he'll have a year where he doesn't reach the AFC title game. And I'll tell you what, when that happens, if you're Joe Burrow and the Bengals, if you're Josh Allen and the Bills, if you're Lamar Jackson in the Ravens, if you're Jaden Daniels and the Commanders, because I think they're going to be around for a long time, playing at a high level, that is your very rare chance to go and win one. I mean, listen, Peyton Manning was an amazing quarterback. He did a lot of great things in his career, but he didn't win the Super Bowl often. And a big part of it was because Tom Brady existed. It's kind of like in the UFC or in boxing. There might be a fighter who's like the third best at his division, but the second best and the first best and the champion, those guys are just monsters. And it's going to be hard to kind of get through and get your chance at a title shot because the 3 guys above you are just better than you. So whenever the rare occasion comes where the Chiefs are not able to win a Super Bowl, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar, those guys better take advantage. Jalen Hurts, assuming he doesn't get one this year, those guys better take advantage. Because the years where Kansas City doesn't get to a Super Bowl, and those years will happen, they don't go every single year, kind of like the Patriots, that's your chance to get on by and take advantage of the Chiefs not being there and go win one. That's what Peyton Manning did. Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees. Peyton Manning only won 2 Super Bowls. Rodgers only won 1. Brees only won 1. I think if you look at all of their overall body of work, every single one of those players, you would not say, oh, those guys certainly won 1 Super. No, you would have thought all of them had multiple Super Bowls. But no, a big part of it was Tom Brady existed. And because as soon as Tom Brady left the Patriots on his last season with the Patriots, what happened? The Chiefs, the same year Brady had his final season with the Patriots, the Chiefs started their dynasty. Now, I know Brady got 1 more Super Bowl in the early part of the Chiefs' run, but shortly after that, the Bucs never went to another Super Bowl and Brady stepped away. And now it's the Chiefs doing what the Patriots did. And Evan Washburn kind of talked about this in a radio interview he did on Infinity Sports Radio, or Infinity Sports Network, rather, pardon me. He said that, part of the frustration with a lot of fans out there is that they saw the Patriots dominate for 18 years with Brady. And as soon as Brady left, people thought that, okay, we'd be able to see different teams here and there. Not really. You're kind of seeing the Chiefs do the same thing. As soon as the Patriots dynasty ended, you see the Chiefs step on right up. Not even like one season of some sort of a hiatus or anything like that. The Chiefs dynasty steps right in, not wasting any time. I'm going to read a few more comments and get out of here. Got to get ready for the tush push again. I don't know if Hurts always goes to the left like Allen, though. Yeah, that is. He really just goes straight up the middle. That's why I was making a big deal about the Jason Kelce thing. It's like, and I know Jason Kelce's not there anymore, obviously, but that's the way the Eagles have always ran their tush pushes with Jalen Hurts. Anthony says, I think they need to keep the Eagles from short yardage situations. I don't think Hurts is at 100. His scrambling was more of a factor last time. Yeah, and listen, they have ample time to recover and get better. That's the nice part about the Super Bowl is both teams have that bye week getting in there. So we'll see. We'll see what they do. Oh, Ephraim, you got your flag. Awesome. Great. Good for you. Congratulations. Elena is also in the chat right now. Elena, you're obviously international. You're not too far. But it is on the way. Just be aware. It's moving. It's moving. Funny story. I had one of those Red Friday flags, and I can't remember who the winner was, but I do remember they lived in Lee Summit, which is not too far from where I'm, dropping off the giveaway in the mail. But for whatever reason, as I was tracking that package, and this was earlier on when we did giveaways, this is like several years ago. For whatever reason, because I told the winner, I'm like, you should receive your flag tomorrow or in 2 days. It took a week because for whatever reason, the package went to Iowa. Freaking Iowa. And then it came back down. Come on, USPS, get your shit together. David says when Washington stopped the tush push, they jammed the middle and went over the top with the linebacker. Yeah, and then they just toyed with the Commanders and made them jump offside several times. That was weird. I thought, by the way, I thought it was really strange that they were warning the Commanders about doing it again. They get ejected. I mean, dude, you're trying to time the snap there. It's not like you're intentionally trying to hurt Hurts. I had never heard of a warning for that kind of thing before. Oh, they have been very quiet on my page, Mickey. I heard them loud and clear for several weeks. And then magically Sunday night, that changed. I wonder why. But yes, you're right. They're gone. The only thing I've been hearing from them is that they're going to boycott the Super Bowl. That's all I've heard from them. Yeah, see, Timothy saying they're crying about the refs. Yeah, exactly. Also, the worthy catch is the reason Buffalo had time to score before halftime. If they rule that incomplete, the Chiefs still score on that drive. Yes, part of it is because they got the first set on that drive there. because of the penalty on that play, which the Chiefs declined. Worthy is a very versatile player to pull off many types of plays. Yeah, and I'm excited to see what else they can do with Worthy down the line in the future here. A lot of people doubted him because of his size and all that stuff. And, these are all people who never scouted a football player in their life before, but somehow they know better than a team like the Chiefs, which have done really, really, really well drafting. By the way, the entire 2022 draft class, they have never not seen a Super Bowl before. Darian Kennard is no longer on the team. Oddly enough, he's on the on the Bengals. So the entire Chiefs 2022 draft class, they have been to the Super Bowl every year in their careers. Even the one player who left. That is odd. Now, it's got to come down to the Chiefs players being able to say they won every. George Karlaftis and Trent McDuffie, the only thing they know is getting to a Super Bowl and winning it. That is literally how every year has gone for Karlaftis and McDuffie. That is how insane it is for the 2022 draft class. Sky Moore, who I know is not playing this year, but he still gets a ring. Isaiah Pacheco, Najee Johnson, Jalen Watson, Joshua, like that entire draft class, Brian Cook, they know nothing but Super Bowl appearances every single year. That is wild. That is insanely wild. Who will the Chiefs possibly lose on defense? I think this could be Justin Reed's final year. I mean, he's making a lot of money, and I don't know. I think the Chiefs are going to move forward with Brian Cook and Jaden Hicks. As much as I really, really like Justin Reed, and I think he's underappreciated even in Kansas City, he might be playing his last game next Sunday. That's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. I think Watson and Williams, they're entering the final year or final game of their contracts, if I'm not mistaken. Chiefs D got to make sure Eagles are on fourth down. Better be five or long. No tush push. They need to avoid. Yeah, that's a good point. But, even from 5 yards out, running it with Saquon is not out of the realm of possibilities either. Yeah, Bolton. Yeah, Bolton's that is a huge one right there. I don't know what's going to happen. Bolton is due for a massive contract. He deserves it. And I know he has a strong contingency of fans here because there are a lot of Mizzou fans. But I think he's this could be his last game. I would almost bet on it. I think the Chiefs want to do whatever they can to keep Trey Smith because protecting the franchise quarterback is very important. But yeah, it's tough, man. This is why I'm saying enjoy the dynasty because it is hard to keep everyone. We saw it with Tyreek Hill. We saw it with L'Jarius Sneed. And I think you're going to see it with Nick Bolton. I truly do think Nick Bolton is getting ready to play his final game with the Chiefs. Listen, Willie Gay last year, he kind of tweeted it, which I thought was weird to do. But when the Buffalo Bills beat, I think it was the Steelers, it basically guaranteed the Chiefs could not have any more home games after beating the Dolphins. Willie Gay tweeted, he goes, I just played my last game at Arrowhead. Some of these guys know. Some of them just straight up know. Let's try to, yeah, I know, Teresa, that again, like I said, enjoy this run because you never know who's going to leave at any time. The Tyreek Hill one, that was a shot. No one was ready for it 3 hours prior to when that trade was finalized. Nobody was ready for that one. Everyone was thrown off guard by that one. The Sneed one, I feel like people were kind of prepared, but just, they just weren't ready to see him leave ultimately. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you don't like it, don't call for it to be banned. That's just silly. I agree with you, Corey, 100%. Find a way to stop it. And the Chiefs certainly did last week against the Bills. Hopefully they can do it one more time. Like I said, the Eagles run a little more different than the Bills, but we'll see if they can do it. My fear with the tush push is what happened with Mahomes. If he suffers a torn ACL or ruptured Achilles, while you're QB. Yeah. Listen, you know what's funny? I've always been that guy that's criticized Andy Reid for never running a quarterback sneak ever again with him because of a freak accident that never happens on a quarterback sneak. Guys, this year I rescind. Okay, I took it back. And part of it is because of all the injuries that took place this year. I'm like, you know what? I get it. The odds of that happening. Listen, Mahomes is not a wimp. Like he's physically one of the bigger and stronger quarterbacks. I mean, Josh Allen's a little bit bigger than him. But not the point. My point is, you know, the odds of that happening are extremely slim. But even with that slim chance, why take the risk? I get it now. I was always pushing back on all of those reasons. Now I get it. Now I 100% get it. One of the right QBs in this era, we are going to get a ring. It always happens. Marino, Jim Kelly, Warren Moon. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Anthony. Again, you know, there's not a participation league award. Someone's going to miss out on a Super Bowl. I mean, again, think of all the great quarterbacks we have right now. That I mean, if these guys continue on their trajectory the way they're playing, they're all going to end up in the Hall of Fame. Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels. I think Jalen Hurts, you know, I don't know if I call him a Hall of Famer yet, but, you know, with the amount of times that the Eagles keep winning, he's bound to get there, I suppose. Matthew Stafford, I mean, Matthew Stafford already has a ring. Jared Goff, I suppose, is kind of in the bubble of Hall of Fame. But my point is, you know, there are a lot of great players right now at the quarterback position, and not all of them are going to get a ring. Yeah, you're right. That is, that's just the way it all kind of goes down. Not everybody gets a ring. So whenever there's that rare instance, the Chiefs don't, if they were to be 1-0 in the playoffs one day, that's the open door for Burrow, Allen, Lamar, whoever. Take advantage. Oh, yes, I forgot to get into this. Thanks for the reminder. Yeah, so Patrick Mahomes, as you all know, was an alternate. And I told you guys, I said, it doesn't matter because he's not even going to go to the Pro Bowl. He's going to be busy preparing for the Super Bowl. So they didn't really need an alternate until Josh Allen dropped out of the Pro Bowl. Now, listen, I think even if Mahomes, even if the Bills won, Mahomes would be the alternate to get called up. I think Mahomes would have turned it down anyway because I don't think he cares for the Pro Bowl when he and his wife just welcomed the newborn. He probably would want to spend more time on that if it's not a Super Bowl, which is understandable. I don't know what Josh Allen's reason is. I mean, he's probably still heartbroken from the recent loss. So who'd they get as the next alternate after Patrick Mahomes? Drake freaking May. I don't know how far down the list they had to go for the alternate list. I loved what JJ Watt had to say. He said, if you have to go to your fifth or sixth alternate, just call it the participation bowl. And I agree. I mean, listen, the Pro Bowl is a joke. It's just guys playing flag football, messing around, and then they do activities in between quarters, drives, whatever it is they're doing. It's not what it once was. I mean, I liked it back when it was in Hawaii because the people in Hawaii, they get to see the best of the best, and it's usually after the Super Bowl, so they didn't really have to worry about alternates so much at the time, unless there was an injury. But yeah, it's kind of just turned into something weird now. I don't know. Yeah, Hurts had some success through the air against Kansas City in Super Bowl 57. Here's something I do want you guys to keep in mind about Super Bowl 57, and I said this before, and I'll say it again. The Chiefs were down by 10 at halftime, and that was right when Mahomes re-aggravated the injury. And then they went on a surge in the second half. The Eagles, they only scored one time in the second half. The Chiefs scored a touchdown on every single drive in the second half. They never punted. And on the one time they didn't score a touchdown, it was Jerick McKinnon. They were letting him score a touchdown. He slid and took a knee, and the Chiefs just ran out as much clock as they could to let Harrison Butker go kick a field goal with just, a few seconds left. So the Chiefs scored on every single drive. And by the way, who did they do it with? Oh, yeah, that's right. Their wide receivers were Juju Smith-Schuster. And then after Juju, who was it? It was Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Kadarius Toney, and Sky Moore. That is who the Chiefs came back with at their wide receiver position. This year's wide receiver group, way better than what they had 2 years ago. Juju's on here, but they've got better speed and better weapons and more reliable guys for sure. And we'll break down the Super Bowl next week more in detail. We're just kind of doing some light talks here and there about the Super Bowl. I mean, listen, I don't either, but don't act all deflated and make it very clear that you miss Kansas City. I mean, I'm not faulting him for that, which, by the way, I don't think he was leaving 25 million to 75 million. I don't think that necessarily, Terry. But he did I mean, he made it very clear he was not happy. I'm just saying. Brian says, do you think Rashee Rice will play in this role? No, I don't. I know there was a headline about that. Could he come back? If he was able to come back, they would have opened up his practice window by now. And they haven't. Oh, I agree. I mean, listen, and I think the Eagles' defense is better, way better now than it was before. So if both teams score into 30s again, I'd be shocked. I don't think you see that. I don't think either team scores more than 30 in this one, unless the Chiefs really do something else again that they haven't done all year offensively, which I'm not gonna put out of the realm of possibilities here, man. Maybe I have a different tune next week, but I just feel like the Chiefs are they're better equipped this time around. Last time, they were still kind of getting used to being without Tyreek Hill. I know Mahomes won MVP that year, but the offense still felt different. Not as bad as it was last year and this year, where they've kind of taken steps back. I shouldn't say bad. They've just taken steps back. But what if Hollywood gets involved more? What if Hopkins gets involved more? Yeah, we'll have to see what happens there. On that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up here. Hey, thank you guys so much for joining me for this episode of the Chiefs Zone podcast. Reminder, we will have a Red Friday live chat this Red Friday. It will not be on a Friday evening. It'll be usually probably a little later, late afternoon. So just be on the lookout for that. We will have the Red Friday live chat then. And then Monday, we'll be back for... Actually, no, scratch that. We will not do a Monday podcast. Well, hold on. I think we will do a Monday podcast. We're just going to wait for all the media to be over with, because I want to watch all of that, and I want you guys to watch all of that as well, because we're definitely going to respond to all of that. Doing it live at the same time, that would be very irresponsible. So we will do a Monday podcast. It'll just be kind of later in the day. It might be 9:30 that night. So if that's past any of you guys' bedtimes, especially for all of you folks on the East Coast, you can always catch the archive version of it later, certainly, which is understandable if you can't tune in live. And then next Wednesday, we will do the Chiefs Zone podcast again. That'll be our breakdown of the Chiefs and Eagles game. And then next Friday, we'll do another Red Friday live chat. And that'll be the final Red Friday live chat of the football season. It'll continue in the offseason, though. No worries. So all of that to look forward to. And then, of course, on the day of the game, the day of Super Bowl Sunday, we will have a pregame live chat, 10 a.m. Central Time. Join me for that. And then at halftime of the game, we will be very quick. We will do a halftime live stream, and then I'll get out because I know you all want to watch a halftime show. And then after the game, hopefully after a Chiefs win, we will do the Chiefs Zone podcast live, recapping the game between the Chiefs and the Eagles. All right, guys. Once again, I'm Farzin Vasugian. Thank you for joining me tonight. I'm out. I will talk to you during the Red Friday live chat. Peace out.